I'm going to show you how to make a really easy handle. You're going to start by taking a lump of clay that is a good size for making the length of handle that you'll need, and you're going to roll it into a cylinder in your hands. Now this is the same way that you'd make a coil to begin with for a coil project. So you're just making a rolled piece of clay to begin with here. We're going to pretend that this piece here is the side of something that needs a handle, so a cup or a pitcher or something like that. So you start by rolling out the coil. You want to leave it to be a bit thicker because we're actually going to be flattening out the clay now. You want to work with really wet clay so that way it can bend easily. So I'm going to take some slip and I'm just using my hand to smooth out the clay and to flatten it slightly. So I know that it's really wet right now. You're going to have fingerprints kind of show up real easily on it. You can fix those later. But to finish off a rectangle, I'm just going to flip it over onto each of the other sides here and flatten it a little bit. Now you can certainly flatten things out just on the top and bottom and then use a fettling knife to cut off the edges. So the next thing I'm going to do before I cut it to size is I'm going to bend it to the angle that I need. So I'll take the clay and I'll begin to bend it. As you start bending the clay, you're going to notice some cracks that'll start to appear on the outside edge. How you prevent that from getting any larger is just taking your finger, getting a little bit of wetness on your finger, and slowly bending the coil. You're shaping the handle to the size that you need and the shape that you want. I'm just going to cut it down to size. So think of the angle that you're going to be attaching your handle and cut off at that angle. So I'm slicing just right here. Out, you got to really make sure that your handle doesn't go back to its normal flatness. We don't want that to happen, so you can have your handle sit out for just a little while like this, just to let it dry out, or you can go bring your handle back to the hair dryers in the back of the room and dry out this area of the handle where it's curved, so that way when you attach it, it won't have an unusual shape. Definitely test it to make sure that it can fit your hand in the way that you want to hold your mug or hold your vase. So let's pretend that this is dried out enough. Since we're not attaching it upright, we're just going to attach it flat on this piece here. What you can do is just add your score marks where it's going to be attached. Sometimes I like to just hold the handle right over where it's going to be. So I make a little mark, mark and mark. Then I can take, ideally my fork to create some score marks so that I can really create a good texture that it can attach to. Really need to seal the handle in. So that would be taking a little bit of the clay from the handle and blending it down into your project. So I'd take this tool and I'd blend clay down into the project from the handle. So I do that all the way around the edges, get rid of that seam, all the way around. And then I'd take a little piece of clay and I want to add some strength to the handle. So you can either wrap a small coil around the handle and blend it in, or you can disguise the clay in spots that you won't notice. So I could throw a little bit of clay right underneath here, blend that in. Maybe I take a little bit of clay on the top and blend that in. If you don't do this, it's most likely going to be a handle that'll break right off when you try to pick it up, because it's going to be supporting all the weight of your project, and that will cause it to break. So you blend that in and make everything look just exactly the way you'd like.